I'm John Miner. Today I want to bring you a book called The Caged Bird, which has sat down, gone through various aspects. I've seen different things going through into our continent and came up with such a title to clarify on how the African continent is living and what we are going through. Maybe from this book we'll be able to understand what makes us suffer and what makes us go through so much. Let's get into it. Moving freely and being able to land at a place of your choice and making decisions for yourself with no limitation. That's what we call self-freedom. But being fed with no right to speak your mind is what we so call slavery. Being bound with chains that are invisible to the eyes, but the pain can be felt inside. A caged bird believes to have much freedom than a wandering bird in the sky. It's fed, it's cleaned, and everything is found without struggle. And it's on a comfort zone. Unlike the other, it has to struggle to find shelter, food on its own. Yes, the caged bird is comfortable, but it has no freedom to fly at the sky, which we all know it's a bad character to do so. Everything is given, but much is taken away, while believing that everything is okay and not thinking of its own coming generation, how they will live and what they will go through in the same cage of comfort and slavery with no one to speak for them. So when you see this part where we have read, you'll find out that the so-called in the cage bird, you find two types of bird. There's this bird that is caged, while there is this bird that is outside, flying freely, moving wherever it wants to be, with no one questioning, with no one asking for anything for return. But when you see about this, the other side of the bird, the caged bird that is kept inside the cage, it can't move freely. Yes, everything is given to it. Everything is given. There is food, it's sheltered, it has everything. It's a comfort zone. But for we all know, birds enjoy when they move, when they fly in the sky, and they are happily moving around and engaging to each other. But at this point, you see this cage bird, it's all alone in a cage, being placed in a system where it can't move, and it has no freedom at all. But in its mind, it's believing that it has a freedom since everything is given. But yet, when we see the other side of reality, we see that this bird is in a cage where it can't move, where it can't fly, where there is no freedom in interacting with other birds of its own kind. Same applies to African countries, where you find some African countries are placed in a system where they are fed with everything. There is money brought into them, health, all those things that are given to them. But when we go back to the reality, you see, those people who are providing this thing, they take much more than they give to this country. For example, let's say in Kenya, yes, we take loans. They give us everything we want. They give us the money. They give us everything. They make good deal with us. But yet, when they are about to take their money back, they take much more than they gave to us. Yet we ourselves believe that they are helping us, and for the reality is that these people will never agree to let you be a successful country, because they know if you are going to be a successful country, that will automatically mean there will be no need for help for you anymore. So the development that they will bring into your country, they'll make sure that you don't get to a point of being at their same level. That's why they bring such little development in order for you to be their slaves and continue borrowing what you think you are going to get, and at the other hand, they know they can't give you what you think you want. Let's move on. When other birds when other birds are roaming in the places freely with no chains bound to them, thinking of how they will put things better for the upcoming generation to live a peaceful place with the right to speak their mind and being able to make decisions and create something greater from their own hard work and determination without being forced to do anything for an exchange of development. Let's go now. Here we'll go deep down to a country like, we have seen like a country like Burkina Faso. What Traore is exactly doing? He says he doesn't want any European nation in his country, for he knows what is better for his people. The same rule applied to, we go back deep down to history when we remember about Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Before Libya faced his cousin Muammar Gaddafi was killed, Libya was in a place, a better place. It was a country that in Africa had been in a better place of development because it had everything. But when the French realized they couldn't control Muammar Gaddafi, they decided to plot something onto him. Maybe this is how African countries are treated. When they see that you can't move in their direction, they can't control you anymore, they can't do whatever they want in your country, they will try to use much power, they will try to put some people in that position so that they will pull you back and take what they want. So in this case, let's continue with our book. It's better to die on my feet, fighting for my freedom, rather than dying on my knees, begging for rights in my sky. As the saying goes, sometimes power is not given, but power is taken. We caged birds need to grab the keys and free ourselves from these so-called the invisible cages and chains that are surrounding us. It's time to enjoy the height of the sky and exploring various places to see what the world holds for us. But this can only be done when we come together and unite and stop fighting against ourselves. As the saying goes, birds of the same feather flying together. Let us be one thing for us to achieve great things in our so-called continent. Okay, so here's the fact. If we Africans want to be united, we all must agree to one thing. We all must come at a table with similar things. We as Africans, from the biggest country in Africa, to that smallest that we know, we must all sit at the table. The 55 so-called president of 54 must sit down on the same table, plan things for these African countries, and decide on which way to go. Unto myself, I believe that if these African countries can come together and decide to be united and be one thing, we truly have much things that can make Africa be a continent that is great, even than the other continents that are there. Because in Africa, we've got everything. If it's gold, it's there. If it's oil, it's there. Every sort of minerals each country can produce. But yet, what's divided us is that we are intoxicated with different foolishness, that we believe in people who even aren't of our own community. People who just came and decided to rule over us and take the power that belongs to us so that they can benefit from their self. So it's up to us Africans to sit down together, think about what we want for this continent, and try to pull things together and make sure that Africa is standing together as one. Even if so, we can decide Africa to have its own currency. But that thing can't apply if we, African leaders, aren't speaking with the same voice. So it's up to the African leaders to sit down together, talk, and discuss various important issues. Not a matter of going to discuss about global weather challenges. No, this isn't the right time of discussing such things. What we really need to do now is to make sure that Africans are not slaves no more in their home, and that is the way that will lead to full freedom of our people and make us be independent. See you next time.